Good morning, welcome back to IE's World. This morning, as you can probably tell, it's a bit of a grey old day, which was predicted. I mean, it was and it still is anyway. This morning, well, let's go back. Last night when I packed up, I had a quick tally up of the number of batten lengths, if you like, that I had left and how many I needed, and there was a considerable gap. So this morning I have been down to the timber merchant and purchased another 22 lengths at 4.8 meters, and hopefully today, weather permitting really, which I think it will be okay. It is supposed to get better as the day goes on, and there's occasionally a bit of moisture in the air, but other than that we're fine. So I will carry on, and you can watch or make a cup of coffee or do whatever you like really. Okay, see you later. I put the saw up on the shed deck for two reasons. The first one being in case we had a sudden deluge, which I wasn't particularly expecting, but better to be prepared. And the second being that it was a nice flat level surface on which to work, something I don't have a lot of around the property. As each of these runs is made up of two pieces of batten material, there is a join in every run in the same place on the fence. I decided to do this rather than going to the trouble of staggering the joints over several posts, as it would have made a lot more work. As the timber shrinks, the gap at the join may become unsightly. If it does, I'll cover it with a 100mm vertical batten. That will look fine, as that is the same width as the vertical behind the battens. You can observe by the length of batten on the ground by the saw that they are sometimes quite warped. This just happens as they dry out. They come in bulk, wrapped in a bundle, to the timber merchant, and they then break that down into bundles of 10 lengths, which they tape together in 4 places over the 4.8 metre length. As soon as you cut that tape, they tend to spring apart to some extent, as the warped ones convert their potential energy into kinetic energy. Because this fence is going uphill, I needed to make a non-90 degree cut through the batten, but also to cut at an angle across the batten. This is the kind of complex cut that this compound miter saw is specifically designed to enable. The left-hand side batten had to be bevel cut at a different angle to accommodate the additional change in angle as the fence transitioned to the last section, which goes uphill at a different angle, a different incline if you like. There were a few cuts at the end that weren't exactly right, and I decided not to spend the extra time trying to make everything exactly 100%. Was I being slack and lazy? I don't think so really. Before I put any more battens on, I wanted to make sure that the two battens were aligned end on end, hence the pink string line you can see. With all the vegetation in the way, I couldn't actually eyeball down it, so I had to measure the distance from the string line to the batten at multiple points along the two battens to see where things were at. It wasn't materially out, but it needed to be sorted at this point to make sure that I didn't end up with a compounding error as I progressed down the fence. I used all the dry material that I had in the top 2/3 of the middle section, and it was only the lower 4 runs that ended up being the new timber. All the left section is the new wetter timber. Because the middle section is more than double the length of the sections at either end, it seemed to take forever. As I said earlier in the video, working around the sunflowers did complicate things. There were, and there will be, consequences in using the battens that I bought a month ago, and hence are reasonably dry, and the new ones which were quite wet. One is that the wet ones are slightly larger in cross-section than the dry ones, so it made it a little more difficult to line them up. And the other is that they will shrink more in length than the drier ones. This means that in time we will end up with bigger gaps at the joins in the wet runs. But having said that, as I've said before, it is a fence, not a piece of furniture. The next time I do something like this, and there are a couple of other fences that will be similar, one, I will make sure I have all the material I need before I start, and two, fix all the battens working from the bottom up. It is much easier to use the jig when it is sitting on a fixed batten and the next one just sits on top of that. With respect to the quality of materials, in my defence, when I bought the initial lot of batten material, I wasn't sure exactly how high I was going to build the fence, and I didn't want to end up with a lot of material to store that I wasn't going to use for a number of months. Having said that, I obviously miscalculated by a significant amount, as I had to purchase another 100 metres. I am pleased to say that the rain stayed away, and as you may be able to tell, it's actually sunny at the moment, even though there is a lot of cloud. But more importantly, the fence is complete. So I can't remember when I started, as in whether it was Saturday I think, but I can't remember. Today's Wednesday. Didn't get much done on Monday, but then Tuesday, Wednesday I have managed to complete it, which I'm very pleased about. So there we go. I will need to re-tie the sunflowers because they have grown about a foot since I put the stakes in, which is less than a week ago. And anyway, I will now need to dig over this bit of lawn. I will now need to dig over this piece of garden because I've trampled all over it. I did dig it over and got rid of all the weeds maybe a week ago, maybe less, and put some lime on it, and then it was rained on. So if I dig that over quickly, then Kathy will be able to plant things in there, which she's been keen to do. So that's it for now, and I suspect this will be the end of a video, and so thank you for your patience as we've gone through this, and I hope that you are all well, and if you're on the other side of the world, then find somewhere warm. I am going to go and have a cold drink. I think I'm pretty dry after being out here all day. Thanks for watching. See you later.